Yeah, this verbal pick radio, where we give you a verbal image of life, and we're just everyday people. And we're doing part 2 of an episode because this is a very important topic dealing with Colin Kaepernick of the San Francisco 49ers, number 7 quarterback. And the reason being is because we don't want to leave this brother out on an island for standing up for something that in our hearts, whether we verbally say it or we in our mind, we put it out in the universe, but we understand where this brother's coming from. And there's so many dynamics dealing with this situation. First of all, he was adopted by 2 white parents. You don't know the pain that he went through in that situation, but to me, it seems as though he had enough. Usually when people speak out, they reach the point of where they have to let this out. Because sometimes if you hold something in for so long and you don't let it out, it'll cause damage internally. So he had to come out and speak and take a stance or sit down on this issue, and then you see people going into he's not a patriot, and then you see people going into the extremes of even burning his jersey, showing the hate that a man of color stood up against a false system. Now, we got into in part 1, and I'll just give you a brief synopsis on the Star Spangled Banner and Francis Scott Key, September 1814, started off as a poem. He looked through the spyglass and he saw that when America was fighting for their independence against the British, they were bombarding so many American ships, but that flag was still there. So he saw that, and then that gave him the inspiration to write the poem. Then later on, the poem became the national anthem, and they sung it in 1931. So I got Brother Low Key in the building.
What's going on, Brother Cold Black?
Man, definitely. We doing it, man, as always. And then young Pruitt, who is on part 1, part 2. We going to keep this thing rolling. But question, Brother Low Key, I got for you, bro.
All right.
Now, the outrage.
Yeah.
But before we get into outrage, I want to ask this. Now, blacks fought when America seeked their independence from the British. Black people fought, thinking that we had something in common. We were slaves. We'll fight in your war, and since you want your independence from the British, we want our independence also during slavery. So we had something in common. I fight to get you where you need to be, and then let's end this slavery thing. Well, we got hoodwinked again, fought in the war, slavery continued. So by him sitting down, could that be saying that I stood for you in your independence, and I didn't get my just due, so now I'm sitting down today and I don't want to have nothing to do with it. Let me go and build my own thing.
Yeah, standing up for, this Star Spangled whatever, like I done erased all that garbage out of my memory bank, so I barely even know what it is. I just have a basic understanding of the premise of what's going on, when it comes to their politics and, their flag laws and their flag politics and what that represents. When you put a flag down, it's considered I'm not sure of the exact legalese, but it's like considered adversity. It's like you're taking a position. There are flag laws that follow behind that, so that U.S. flag is literally a military flag.
Right.
And the U.S. is their main function as far as global European politics is as a military arm.
Okay.
They don't have titles of nobility. They're not kings and queens. They're presidents within a corporation, and there are different, those particular type of positions within the military arm of the European global business. So for any of our people to actually stand up and give merit, to these foreigners and their politics, knowing that they have us under, they're following in the Christian doctrine of discovery, and they have these codes. They have black codified as being a criminal within their codes, and they have black people listed as being civil mortals, dead in the eyes of the law. You know, why would we actually stand up, recite, and these, things that are part of their particular business model that is about keeping us, as second, dead in the eyes of the law, dead in their system, basically, and as criminals.
So what I'm understanding is, right, that man wrote these laws and instilled in us, so we say the anthem verbatim but out of repetition.
Right.
And then, just as the white Jesus in the subconscious mind, when they say Jesus, some in their mind have seen that picture over and over again, they visually see that image.
Right.
So that means that this is a scientific system, or you could say a science or a military, or a way to create a subliminal message within the mind.
Right.
Now,
programming the subconscious mind.
They program the subconscious mind.
Right.
But shouldn't we not be able to fall for this in 2016 when they've been using the same tactic for over 400 and something years?
Right. Some people ain't falling for it, like the brother Colin.
Well, yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But, okay, right. Okay, now, wait, let me ask you this, though, right, bro? Mm-hmm. Let me ask you this, okay. Now, these are man-made laws.
Right.
Okay. So what God created is infinite, right?
Okay.
What man created is finite, right? Okay. So then that means that should we be more in universal law and have universal law trumps man's law?
It should trump it every time, my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, as far as universal principles, Trump, what they have is, it ain't even law. What they have is, they have a legal system purporting as law.
Come on.
What they have is the furthest thing from the truth.
Right.
Right. What we call, European politics.
Right. Now, young Pruitt, I just got this quick question, though. Now, and it's also the brother low key. Can't you, if you was created, right? If you was created with an inclination towards the Creator, or let's say an inclination towards truth, right? And then this new man on the planet, right? He comes with a system, or he comes with quote unquote a law, and he tries to enact that law and put that law on you, but something inside of you would be like something just ain't right.
You're born with it in you, so.
Right. So that means that we naturally will fight that his law, if it's not just. Mm-hmm. Even if we say, let's say with the police brutality thing, in which Colin Kaepernick stood up for, right? Naturally, if somebody pulls you over and doesn't tell you their purpose, and they tell you to get down on the ground, wouldn't you be like, instinct, what the hell are you talking about? You know what I mean? What's going on?
Why are they turning on emergency lights when there's no injured party in the first place? That's a violation of their legal system right off the rip.
Come on.
Carry out on a daily
basis. So they in violation off top.
Right, dealing with us.
Of their own system. They violate their own politics.
So, and it goes back to, and I want to ask you the same question I asked young Pruitt. Do you feel, now, Colin Kaepernick sat down. Do you feel other players need to do the same as well, so the brother won't seem like he ousted, since he got so many coming up against him, so he won't feel like he on the island by himself? So should other players step up as well to show him some support? Now, this is low key, because I asked Brother Pruitt the first session.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, none of us, it's idiotic to me, to support, actual system that has more POWs, aka slaves, locked up, in prisons now than during, the time of the triangular slave trade. Like, why would you, I'm only doing bare minimum, in regards to just dealing with the current situation. It's all about getting our own and dealing in self-determination, self-governing, so.
Right. I 100% agree with the self-determination, self-governing, and dealing in the business, creating economics. Now, check this out, though. And this is, I'm getting off the path a little bit, but within this time frame, when I got you here, I want to set this scenario up for you, right? And check this out, man. Okay, when I was younger, right, when my family members would come down here from Michigan, right, they had a whole different frame of mind. I mean, the dances that they were doing or stuff that they was doing in Michigan was different than what we was doing down here in Houston, right? Mm-hmm. And I thought about it, but yet we were still family. Mm-hmm. So I got to thinking, and their accent was different because they said we talk with a southern accent. Mm-hmm. They had a different accent.
Right.
Man, I got to thinking, man, and it dawned on me, whether we Haitian, Jamaican, Dominican, Trinidadian from the Caribbean, the blacks that's in Britain, if they say we all the same family and we talking different accents, then that's a market right there that we can interact with one another. What's keeping us from, meaning I know who put the divide between us, mm-hmm. but what's keeping us from, from rising to the top, to fight through that divide?
I think from what exactly kind of how you just broke it down, like you were saying, your people from up north and you from south, and kind of what I said a little earlier about the separation, because you can have one neighborhood and they'll be separated by streets. You got a gang on this street, you got a gang on that street. So and just like your people come around from up north, they might joke with you about your accent, or joke with you about how you joke with them about how they dancing. Same way with like you said, we are all one people, but we're so separated. We're so separated and spattered out to where we don't all get into one. You know what I mean? Yeah. The conversation ain't coming from just me to you most of the time. A lot of time when it's you have the media in it, or you have a mediator, or this, or
right.
That. So it's not a direct conversation. You're not in the same environment,
right?
So.
But we got invisible dividing lines.
Exactly.
Culture is one of the main things that's keeping us separated, because if you're Haitian, you're being cultivated by Haitian culture. I was just looking at a video. There were some students and they were getting on about having a Haitian flag. Maybe that was I think perhaps that was a violation of school uniform because they had shirts with the Haitian flag on it. You ever been to a Caribbean fest? You see how proud all the people from the Caribbean are of their flag and their culture. And when it comes to black culture, I remember this cat that I know. He used to say that black people have a habit of passing down slave traditions from one generation to the next. So black culture being something that's not connected to any particular landmass, and then some black people feeling disconnected from Africa and saying we aren't the same people, even though we all look the same. Right. Is what they've been cultivated by is slave traditions. They've been, when it comes to what we consume, education, everything that we're dealing with are as us coming of age. Right.
But why we don't look at the common denominators, man? If you ever see in the churches in the old days, man, and you might see in these films, and you see the people catch the Holy Ghost and they talking in tongues, they get to running around doing whatever. You can go back to a dance in Africa in the tribe where they doing the same thing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Some of the sayings that we might have, or some you will see that in the old voodoo.
Right.
And it's been passed down.
Right.
So it's there. I mean,
right.
We right at the cusp, man.
It all corresponds.
It all corresponds.
No matter what school of thought you're talking about, what religion, I could show you where your Jesus is, Isa, and
Right.
and Islam, where it's
Right.
Isu in Nigeria, where you know, or Shango in Nigeria, or Siete Reyes and